Let's talk about Joe Mixon. You mentioned that earlier, Tyler. You mentioned the injury. Tell us about that report, what you saw, and kind of what's going on there out of Houston's camp.
Yeah, so there was I forget who said it today. It might have just been on X somewhere, but somebody was talking about how Joe Mixon, he's had that injury that's kind of plagued him all off season. Let me look here. I'm trying to get it pulled up real quick. They had a comment today that said, oh, he may not even be playing all season. And so a lot of people come back and they say, well, who's going to be the next guy up? Some people think it's Nick Chubb. Dameon Pierce has looked okay. I'm not putting my eggs in that basket because they've had him on the roster, and yet they still felt the need to go add Nick Chubb. But the guy that I actually think could really sneak in would actually be Woody Marks. I talked about him a little bit earlier. He's a great receiving back out of USC. I think that would fit really well with CJ Stroud and his kind of check down, needs if he needed it. But let's see here. So the GM was the one that actually commented today, Nick Caserio. He was non-committal on his return in 2025. I mean, that's all you need to say, right? Like, we've been sitting here thinking all offseason, when is Joe Mixon coming back? If he comes back week 4 or week 6 or whenever, okay, sure, he could be a value in the draft. But right now, they don't even know if he's coming back this year. So definitely, some hesitation and pause in drafts should be had there. He is supposed to be reevaluated after 4 weeks because he was put on the NFI list. So we'll see, if he plays this year. But if I'm taking a shot on the guy, I'm taking the rookie and Woody Marks. I think he has the most juice out of that backfield left.
Coach. Well, don't you think too, Tyler? Don't you think Marks is the perfect, I guess you could say, piggyback to Nick Chubb? Like, Chubb has never done work out of the backfield really at all. Chubb's a big, strong, between the tackle runner. They're sort of the perfect combo there between those two guys.
For sure. I mean, and think about it too, like Nick Chubb could easily be the goal line back, right? Like, that's what he's perfect at. You get him inside the 10, let the big physical back that's always been that, let him actually carry it into the end zone. But if you have a 2-minute drive, you have any sustained drive, he's going to need, a break there. And I think that's where Woody Marks just fits perfectly. So for me, like I said, if Woody Marks transitions into this offense pretty early and he just gets more and more reps with CJ Stroud, he could end up eventually possibly beating Nick Chubb out. But I think they'll use more of a committee. But like I said earlier with the Jaylen Warren and the Caleb Johnson situation, I'm taking the target leader out of the backfield in murky situations like that.
Sure. And we just saw Joe Mixon go in the 7th round of this mock draft we just did. Just notable running backs that went after him: Travis Etienne, Quinshon Judkins, Jaylen Warren, Javonte Williams, Ja'Cory, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of names out there that I think I would rather have than Joe Mixon, just because the risk that's in that pick. Tyler, you mentioned Woody Marks. Coach, you mentioned he's a perfect complement to Nick Chubb. Totally agree. My only concern is, where does Dameon Pierce fit into this role? I mean, we've seen him kind of step into a workload and perform. I mean, he's certainly been a guy that's been able to just run all over the place and run over people. So I do think there's an opportunity for him to do that again. But I think more likely than not, this Texans backfield just shifts into a true committee. Chris, do you have any thoughts on this Texans backfield?
Yeah, so I was going to echo what Tyler was saying. I actually drafted Mixon in my home league just because he was falling and falling and falling. So stashed him on my IR, see what I have later in the season. But right after the draft, I had a choice between go pick up Dameon Pierce or go pick up Woody Marks just to stash. I chose Marks. I feel like we know what we have in Dameon Pierce. Marks is the exciting rookie that has a question mark ceiling, right? So I think from a fantasy perspective, Marks is the play. Chubb, I think, will be fine. To use Matt's terminology, he'll be fine. He'll get you some points in fantasy football. He's not going to win you a week. Hopefully, he can get you double-digit points. I don't think he's going to catch a lot of passes because he never has. And we don't know what he has left. He didn't look great last year, and he's just a year older, and he's had so many injuries. Like, who knows? So if I'm taking a shot on any of them, it's Woody Marks, just because I can get him for free.
That's fair.
Now, Dameon Pierce has been a guy they've liked in Houston, though. There is that, there is that known commodity there.
But is there a
Sure.
chance? There's a chance too, though, that instead of it being Nick Chubb is washed, and then Dameon Pierce takes the first and second down, and then Woody Marks takes that third down
It's
role.
absolutely
That's very
possible.
possible. So,
It is.
I mean, my only thing is, and the reason why I hesitate saying that's going to happen is because Dameon Pierce, while he has been on this roster and they've used him, they still also felt the need to go get a Nick Chubb. They still felt the need to draft Woody Marks. So there is a reason why they're adding all this talent at running back. And I think it's probably because they didn't necessarily feel Dameon Pierce fit the right role they wanted.
And this regime didn't draft Dameon Pierce.
No.
They
So
kept
I
him around
think
a
that
long
does
time.
play in it at least does have
Bingo,
some
coach.
factor with it. Well, sorry, would you say, Coach? I missed it.
I said they've kept,
They kept
him
him
around.
around.
There's that.
Sure, 100%. Yeah, no, he's still there. He's still on the team. He still has possibilities, but I just feel like there's not a whole lot of loyalty there if it came down to it. But I don't know. We'll see.
And we also have to mention Daria Gumbawale just because he's got an awesome name. So Daria
And
Gumbawale.
he's there.
Coach, let's